Welcome to today's Just People's Connections event. These online events are a space for the givers and the doers in the Just People's community to come together. Today we're going to have the opportunity to hear from 8 leaders from across East Africa and Asia, and they're all designing and delivering projects which alleviate poverty in their communities. After each leader has spoken, we'll have a chance for 1 or 2 questions, and I will briefly share 1 or 2 of the leaders' current projects to give you some idea of what they can achieve in their communities with the donations and grants that they receive to support their work. First up, we have Abel Robert. Abel Robert founded the St. Anne Foundation in Uganda to honour his late Auntie Anne, who raised him from the age of 8 along with 20 other vulnerable children. With gratitude for receiving this love and an education, Robert now supports children, women and refugees to lead safer, more fulfilling lives. Over to you, Robert.
Thank you very much, Jo. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy and honored to meet you today. I'm doing this work passionately with all my love to it. We do a lot of work in hard-to-reach areas, especially in highland areas whereby most of the resources cannot be reached. That is specifically looking at an island, which is called Bahiga Island, which is in the middle of Lake Victoria. It is very hard to reach and very hard to find resources there. Very hard to find infrastructures there. So right now, what are we doing? We have done so much of women empowerment, installing water sources, water boreholes, which are helping these people to have enough water so that they can be able to help themselves and prevent themselves from getting diseases, because most of the water they're getting is from the stream, which is really very dirty. So we are helping them to install boreholes, to put their vocational and skilling centers so that we can help the vulnerable and poor women to have something to do. Because there is a lot of problems of patriarchal society whereby women are taken as inferior. So we are helping them to empower these women so that they can be, have something to do and be empowered to generate something into their homes and support their children. I'm doing this because I was supported by my auntie to make sure that I help these other children so that they can also have life which is better, like how I was raised. So we are doing this. I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with a team that I'm working with to make sure that we can help these children, we can help these women. Along that also, besides the children, we're also helping the women and their families to make sure that they can have food, because this is a very hard to reach area. And some children are basically orphans. They don't have space where to live. Others don't have families. Like, for example, yesterday, 2 days back, we lost one of the beneficiaries who was like an elderly over 80 years, who had like over 6 children that were taken care of. So she died yesterday, and now we are having a burden of having all those children taken care of. So these are some of the things that we are doing to help these children survive and the women have something to put on their table and have to help the grandchildren, help their families so that they can have an improved life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and whatever that you've been doing for us to make sure that we can reach out to these people, it is really very, very inspirational to speak to you and to present the kind of work we're doing. For example, like what you're seeing in the photos, those are the ladies that we are supporting at Thailand. The photos of the sewing machines, ladies doing a vocational skilling. Those are products that are being done from the island, which Joe and Christy or any other person who would wish to come and visit and see what the kind of work that we are doing there will be very, very good to see. So I'm very pleased. I'm very happy to meet you today. I don't know how I can express myself, but only you can see it on my face. Thank you very much. Allow me to stop here briefly.
Thank you so much, Robert. Thank you so much for that presentation. I love your passion, and it's so beautiful to see all the photos and the wonderful work brought to life on the screen. Christy and I are hoping to come and visit you in a couple of months to Bahiga Island, so we really look forward to experiencing that with you. Thank you, Robert. Just to give you guys a little bit of context about what Robert can achieve. So we'll be sharing with each leader what they can achieve. Just to give you some idea about how far in Australia, the Australian dollar, but the euro or the US dollar can go in delivering some of this work. So as an example, a couple of the things that Robert has coming up is installing a new borehole to provide clean water to 400 families. And that's at a cost of about 7,000 Australian dollars. He's also in the process of designing a project, and there's been a lot of demand in the community for the women to train as hairdressers because they don't have anywhere on the island that they can get their hair done, and a lot of them are really passionate about their hair. So he's working to set up a business to help them to establish small businesses, and that's around about 18,000 Australian dollars. So that's just a bit of an overview of the work that Robert's doing at the moment, and I'd love to know if anyone has any questions for Robert.
I was just going to say, if a question comes to you later, feel free to pop it in the chat or send it to either Joe or me, and we will ask Robert later and he'll be able to give you a response. So, Lee, I see your hand.
Lee.
So in terms of the small business, the hairdressing small business, what does that involve in terms of the setup? What does the $18,000 pay for? What are the elements of setting up a small business to achieve that outcome?
Thank you very much, Lee. Right now, it is more a pilot project whereby we are helping this lady to first gain the skills, because like Joe told you that most of the women are struggling to make sure that they can have, the beauty having their hair done. So we are first bringing the specialists to come and train them on how to make hair. And then we are trying to see how we can make different centers in different areas. Because there are different small buildings, which are like small mother houses, we're trying to see how do we make centers where they can come and be able to do that work from. So we are looking at all those that will be trained, having the different centers where they can be working from. And then those who are willing to pay some small money can be able to support those that are helping them to, to plait the hair so that they can have a living out of that. I don't know if I'm clear.
You are clear. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lee. Okay, we've got a question in the chat from Grania here, 2 questions actually, which is great. We probably have just enough time for these. So are there any transport links with other areas, is the first question. And the second question is, what is the population on the island? The
population is 43 people on the island, but the majority are basically children and women, and also the youth. Secondly, the routes, actually we have 2 routes. One of them using the international airport to cross. It will take you like about 8 hours crossing the Lake Victoria. And then the second one, which we usually use, it is from Kampala to that area where there's also a small boats where we usually pass usually. So it is usually a very narrow stream where we pass with the small boats. But we park somewhere the cars and then we cross using the small boats. And then on the other end, we use the small motorbikes. You will never find a car on that island. That's how unique it is. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robert. We have some brilliant footage of Robert and all his endeavours to carry various equipment for all the projects over on the tiny boat. So maybe we can share a couple of photos with the follow-up email. It's pretty funny. Fabulous. Okay, thank you so much, Robert. Next, we're going to hear from Shaman Kabir. So Shaman has dedicated her life to reducing the stigma surrounding menstruation for women in Bangladesh. She runs menstrual hygiene workshops, develops sanitary solutions, and renovates facilities in slums so girls and women have access to safe private toilets and shower facilities. Over to you, Shaman.
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everyone. I'm from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I have been working with menstrual hygiene education for the last 7 years. So we are educating the girls and empowering them with menstrual hygiene management knowledge so that they don't need to miss the schools or drop out the schools or even to be the victim of early child marriage because they are not going to school. So all is possible to make a girl's life more better, more happier, with education and every other things possible if we can educate them about their bodies, about their physical health, while they are in puberty and menstruation. We are educating them with comic books. We are manufacturing reusable sanitary napkins. And apart from that, we are also bringing the whole community. So they feel the urgency of talking about menstruation or creating a better menstrual hygiene management places for the girls and women. So while working in the Dhaka cities, in slums, rural areas, I found that the women's lives also are very vulnerable. So I found that they don't have any in the toilets, or even they don't have any toilet. So while in menstruation, they have to wait until the morning to use the toilets, because using the toilets at night, they become victims of physical assault, they become victims of rape. So these are the some cases that they are creating more health issues, risk like vaginal rashes, infections, and also these are hampering their productivity a lot. So that's why we started renovating slum toilets in Dhaka city, like in the capital city of Dhaka. So this project has been ensuring that the girls and women living in the slums are having a safe, secure toilets with water connections, with electricity connections, and other facilities. Not only that, we are also engaging the elder communities, both male and female, so that they feel the same empathy that girls and women need a secure, safe toilet. And after our intervention, we have seen that previously in the open places like these, in front of the toilets, young men would just sit there to embarrass the girls and women while they go to using toilet. But after our community intervention, the men who would sit to embrace the girls and women, they are now coming to advocate about the girls and women's needs there. So these are some of the changes we have been able to bring in the community. You can see how happy the women are. They all are our community leaders. They are taking care of the toilets. Just behind them, see the toilets. So they are the change makers in their own community, and we are empowering the community so that they can take the charges of their own lives. So thank you so much, Dust Papers, and people like you who are supporting us every day and every moment to achieve our vision. So if you have any questions, please.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Shaman, for sharing. I know it's really hard to only have 5 minutes to speak about the wonderful work that you're doing, but you did a really good job to convey, the struggles that these girls and women are facing, and also the incredibly powerful work that you're doing to address that. Just to give you guys a bit of context around the cost of the work that Shaman's been doing. So 3 of the things that she's working on at the moment: running menstrual hygiene workshops for groups of 30 girls to teach them about managing their periods and working to break the stigma and taboo around talking about periods. And that comes along with the comic book, which you would have seen in some of the pictures that Shaman has designed and produced to distribute to young women, as well as sanitary pads. And those workshops cost around 500 Australian dollars each. She's also working on establishing communal toilet facilities and communal shower facilities within slum areas. And they come in at around $3,000 per toilet and $5,500 per shower facility. And the next round of those are going to be constructed next month. So does anyone have any questions for Shaman about her work?
Shaman, I didn't know that you were doing shower units as well as the toilets. How many showers have you done to date?
We have not started the shower places yet. We have raised a donation from the people for 10 shower places. So we have already started the community build-up session, community engagement from this May, and hoping to start the construction very soon. So before every construction started, we bringing the community in one places, because we need to mobilize them. We need to make them understand that why we are there, and we need to make them convinced to support us in their pool. And we are also organizing a session on menstrual hygiene management for women and distributing reusable napkins there. So it's not like we are going and we are doing something discreetly. Everything is interconnected to our efforts. Like we are building the community with awareness. We are providing menstrual products and books to the girls and women. And then we are building community women as leaders who just take care of each and everything of the toilets. And then we are now going to renovate the shower places. So regarding the toilets, we have renovated 23 so far. We have got donations for 8 more. And we are starting the 8 toilets and 10 shower places together. And the process has already been started.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's brilliant.
Thank you so much, Shaman. Yeah, it's wonderful. And I don't know if you mentioned in the presentation, Shaman, but actually the demand for the toilets was actually risen by the women in the community once Shaman had started establishing the toilets. They were like, the next thing we really need is like private shower places, a safe place to be able to wash in running water and things like that. So really exciting to see this work grow and evolve and start to meet more and more needs. And Shaman, you're my hero. You're really managing your little ones well. They really like to pick the exact 5 minutes when you're speaking, don't they? To a global audience.
And each one of you are heartily invited to Dhaka, Bangladesh to see how the impact really looks like.
Yes, well, we're very much looking forward to coming to see you in November. And there's a couple of people on the call, I think, that are going to be joining us. So very, very exciting. Thank you so much, Shaman. So next up, we're traveling to Mathare in Kenya now, and we're going to be hearing from Douglas Mwangi. Douglas was honoured as a Queen's Young Leader in 2018 for his work providing opportunities to break the cycle of poverty in Mathare slum in Kenya, where he was born and raised. He specialises in creating safe education spaces for kids and providing entrepreneurial and tech skills. Douglas, over to you.
Thanks, Jo. Hi, everyone. So I love you guys to imagine the impact on a child's education where they're being taught by a trained teacher in a school that does not have learning materials or they have limited materials, located deep inside the slum where there are no spaces where kids can play during break time. And to make it even worse, the same kids reside or come from a 4x4 meter shack. And obviously, with no electricity, and obviously parents are unable to buy learning materials. This is the case in Mathare slum, where slightly above 80% of schools are unfit for purpose. But at WAS Mathare, we believe that access to education is the right to every child, regardless of their background. And that's why we run an early childhood development center. And by the way, I can see Tony on the call. She's the one who helped us to set up the ECD center. So the ECD center provides a quality education that helps kids access quality education with the help of trained and qualified personnel in a safe environment that help kids to play. We're also introducing them to STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, at their age. The ECD Center primarily targets young mothers who did not finish formal education, but we have those who finish formal education, but they don't have any skill that will help them earn a livelihood. So the parents can actually drop their kids at the ECD Center and come and access one of our women empowerment program, because we believe that smart parents are a better place to take care of their kids back at home. But if they don't have any skill or they're not able to provide for them, then that becomes problematic. So we help them access skills to start a business, but the end goal, we encourage them to enroll to a software engineering program. Thank you very much. With a $50, by the way, you can actually support a kid for a whole year to access a hot meal and their mother to access our livelihood program. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Douglas. I love seeing the photos of the centre and all the kids. You're doing such a fabulous job there, and so good to hear about the holistic support of supporting the mothers as well to get employment so that the kids have the best start to life. So amazing. So just to give you a bit of an idea of what it costs for Douglas to run his centre. So how many kids is there, Douglas? About 23, is that right?
Yeah, 23.
23 kids, and they come in full-time in the ECD Centre, and for a full year of running the centre, including the teaching staff in the space, is around about 20,000 Australian dollars. Would anyone have any questions for Douglas?
Sorry, I don't have any questions, Douglas. It's lovely to hear you again. And it's just so lovely to see the children at the centre. and their lovely happy faces. And as we know, I suppose childhood lasts a lifetime, and the education that you're giving the children is just going to be so important for them. And the fact as well that you're supporting their mums, it's just lovely to hear about the work again and to see the pictures as well. So thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Grania. Okay, now we are going to stay in Kenya and we're going to meet Beth Quagey. So Beth Quagey is the co-founder of Magic Water, where she specialises in inventing air-to-water technologies to provide clean drinking water across arid and semi-arid regions of sub-Saharan Africa. Beth and her incredible work featured in Brave Blue World, which is a documentary on Netflix by Matt Damon.
Thank you, Joe. Hi, everyone. I'll just give you a bit of a background on how I started working in water. So Kenya is 80% arid or semi-arid regions, and 1 in 4 people actually face water scarcity. This means that they do not have a reliable water source. And in the recent years, we have had drought. So in the past 3 years, we have had one of the worst droughts in our history. We have never seen anything like that. And this means that most of our both seasonal and unseasonal water bodies, such as rivers, dried up. So a lot of communities were left with very little option in terms of water source, and mostly were depending on relief water. This is water from UNICEF or water from NGOs that is brought into these communities specifically for drinking. But when there is drought and this kind of situation, a lot of water problems come about. That is water contamination, conflict, and many other social problems. And when I started working in water was, I think, 8 years ago. And that the reason why I started working in water is because I believe that, especially drinking water, it's a basic human right. And even if you don't have water to do anything else, you at least have water to drink. And that's how I started working in water. I started by doing a lot of filtration where we were making water filters using activated carbon and distributing these water filters through women groups. So in Kenya, women are usually organized in these groups that they help each other grow. And we felt that, women being the guardian of communities and families, they were the easiest target. So we would work with women to distribute water filters. But we have been having prolonged drought seasons, and most communities do not have enough water to filter at all. And that's how we started looking at what other options can we give when there is this kind of situations. That's how we created the air to water system. So this is where we condense the humidity and we provide the system for the community. So what you see here, this is a 500 liter per day device. So we produce 500 liters of clean drinking water every day, which is filtered. So most of our installations are either in schools, hospitals, and community centers. So we have done 35 of these installations in different places, mostly schools, where we get water for children to drink during school hours. And when it's not school hours, we give that water out. And this is an example of a project we did where we installed the system in a school. The reason why we install in schools is because this is a community project, but we install in schools because we need it to have security, to be maintained, and we need permanency, and schools are the easiest. So here we have Christy testing water from our system, but just to let you know, it tastes like rainwater. Just rainwater. And this is one of our installation in a hospital, specifically a dispensary. So thank you so much for supporting our work. It's not easy to do this project, but with your support, this is very possible. So thank you so much.
It's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing, Beth. I think, it's been so incredible for Christy and myself and some of the supporters on the call today to be with you along this journey that you've been on, from the small household water filtration devices to actually developing a system that can create water out of air. It's incredible. And it's very special that you're able to now tackle the water crisis in areas where there isn't even dirty water to drink. Love also the way that you're exploring the the opportunities to actually use the water that's generated for farming and things like that, and to solve issues with drought and food crises and things like that. So all very excited, and we're really, really happy to be a small part of supporting what you're doing. Just to give you guys an idea on the cost of some of these systems. So Beth has a range of systems. The smallest is a 25 litre per day system, and that costs around about 2,700 Australian dollars. And that larger system that she showed, that would be 500 litres per day in community centres and hospitals, is around $12,700 to install a system that generates 500 litres of drinking water per day. Okay, I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions about Beth's work, but would anyone like to ask a question with their voice or in the messages?
You've come such a long way in the 8 years from those first handmade water filters using cotton wool and charcoal. I thought you were brilliant then, but oh my goodness, look what's happened since. It's mind-boggling. So what's going to happen in the next 5 years? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janet. I actually met you for the first time in 2017. And that's around the same time when I had this idea. So thank you for being part of that journey. And I'm very grateful. A good thing for us, which is not so good, because of the drought that we've been experiencing in Kenya, a lot of people have reached out to see how we can partner. And I think in the next 5 years, we just want to see what is the best way to partner with who. And an example, which is scary, but also probably it's a good thing, Barefoot in India want to support us in doing the trainings and creating curriculum for these kind of systems, just for the scale. And also they want us to explore water kiosks. These are establishing water shops in regions where previously you couldn't establish something like that. So it will be exciting next 5 years.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Beth. And actually, Beth's amazing work actually brought Janet to us, which is really special. So, Janet, it was Beth's project you were reading about in the dentist office, wasn't it?
It was,
magazine
yes.
in the dentist
Yes,
office. It was a Just People's article in a magazine and reached out. So how special.
I want to be a part of this, I said. Yes. Let me in. And I'm still here.
Oh, it's wonderful. Brilliant. It's so wonderful. We're so grateful.
And I'm going to hunt out that doco with Matt Damon, most definitely.
Would anyone else like to ask Beth a question? Karen.
It wasn't actually a question. It was just how amazing your work is, Beth, as is the work of everyone. And as you were talking, I reached across my desk to pick up my water bottle, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's just something that I do. And yet there's so many people who are in the situation that you're helping. And, you know, these conversations and opportunity to hear just puts life in perspective. So thank you all for the work, the wonderful work you do, and Just Peoples for bringing these things to our attention to make us sit up and take stock about what really matters in life. So thank you very much.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for those beautiful reflections.
Thank you so much.
Now we are going to head to Da Nang in Vietnam and meet Hong Tang. So Hong runs the largest online support group for at-risk mothers in Vietnam. She provides her community with psychological support and enables single mothers to learn skills and earn an income so they can support themselves and their kids without having to return to violent homes. Over to you, Hong.
Hello, everybody. Have you ever been to a country where for every 2 married women, one of them is a victim of domestic violence? Here, if a woman gets a divorce, she will be kicked out of the husband's house empty-handed. She will have to raise her children totally alone, and not only without support from her ex, her family, her community, or the government. She also had to suffer a lot from her own trauma as well as social stigma. If you were one of them, for example, if you were Thảo Trinh, a victim of not only domestic violence, but also adultery, who tried to commit suicide many times, and in her 12 years of marriage, she had not only passed on her trauma to her 2 first daughters, but also almost killed herself and her 3rd child when she was pregnant for 12 weeks. If you were Trinh, you will definitely want to reach out to a network where you are inspired by successful example of single parenting, getting emergency support, making like-minded friends, getting psychotherapy and or business network support to rebuild your lives. You will also feel very welcome when you know that the leader of this network is someone as a single mother herself who volunteered to do the job for over 10 years, not only to heal herself and support her other sister, but also in the hope to influence and build a better society for her own daughters. And yes, that's my personal story. And as a network leader and supporting women is what wake me up every morning. Hello again, everybody. I'm Hong Thang, the People Project Leader, who is leading a network of a little more than 34,000 single mothers from Vietnam. Since 2019, with the Peoples, we have been running many projects to provide comprehensive support for our women from mental health to physical and financial health, through emergency support for individuals, to vocational training and job placement, microfinance, business support and investment, to training and business network building, as well as psychological counseling and building a mental health support information library for self-development and parenting, etc. We are gradually changing the life of single mother and the way society perceives them. There is a saying that said, being a single mother is twice the work, twice the stress, and twice the tears, but also twice the hug, twice the love, and twice the price. We hope our support can reduce the work, the stress, and the tear for our women, so that they can experience more hugs, love, and price as they fully recover from domestic violence, stigma, and shame, and begin to live the safe and happy life with their children. Thank you for coming today and listening to my story, and wish you a great day.
Thank you so much, Hong. That was an absolutely stunning presentation. Thank you so much. And there was a photo there where Christy and I were having dinner in Hong's home late last year, I think it was, in November. And what a special experience it was to actually be in the home with women on various stages of their journey to leave violent partners and to establish new lives supporting their families, and to really see the strength and beauty of the community that Hong's creating and that holistic support. Absolutely wonderful work. Just before we go to questions, I'll just give you an idea of a couple of the things that Hong is working on. So in terms of psychological support, Hong has been supplying one-to-one counselling for women who are going through a really hard time, and that is available at $30 Australian per session. And she also offers some group therapy programs, which are 3 months and for 30 women. And that we saw the result of lots of women that have been on that program, and afterwards they have a real sense of community, and some of them have even started small businesses together so that they're able to support their families. Those programs are around $1,700 Australian each program for 30 women. And a larger project that Hong is working on at the moment it's called Her Kitchen, and it's establishing work opportunities and catering for single mothers and at-risk mothers. So that is a small snapshot of all the wonderful work that Hong is doing. Does anyone have any questions for Hong?
I guess, Hong, I just was curious about, any more stories around the business side of things. And I think just how do you cope with scale? It's such a huge network. And then for the businesses as well, how do you keep it steady so it doesn't grow too big too fast? That's part of the challenge.
So in our community, we're going to go like project by project, and based on the results of this project, we're going to design the other projects. And normally the single mother going to be the leader of those projects, and myself going to work with them, consult with them, and see if they can be the leader. And then they actually going to be the leader of the project, and they're going to follow the projects. For example, the current project that Joe mentioned, Her Kitchen, is not my idea. It's a single mother who is a chef, and her name is Dang. She enjoyed group therapies because she has a son with ADHD, and herself has a lot of trauma as well. So she joined the group, and she found out her problem, and she found like kind of her family hanging around with all the other women in the same situation, and her child also can make friends with other children kind of same situation. And as a chef, she volunteered 1 year to support our project. So her idea is for Her Kitchen, where she can take other women to cook and then share the products and then make a network around the countries. And so it's not my idea, and I can use her expertise and my organization doesn't have to pay her to work, so we reduce the cost. And as she is a chef with 15 years experience, so she ran the project very smoothly, and she trained other single mother as well to take over the project. So actually our organization and myself don't have to learn the skills or hire somebody to work on that and manage them to do that. So it is kind of manageable until now. I hope to learn much more management skills in the future in order to still capable when it go bigger. Of course, yeah.
I think you make it sound easy, but that's incredible. Yeah.
And thank you for the question. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's amazing. Oh, and Karen just says a ripple fabulous. And that's exactly what it really is in Hong's community. She has these women all over Vietnam in situations where they're very isolated within their own families or not able to leave families, but they join this community and then people within the community share their skills. Now we are going to head back to Kenya to a place called Magadi. And we're going to speak with Elizabeth Nyokabi. So Liz is a Kenyan physiotherapist who is changing what it means to grow up with a disability in Maasai pastoralist communities. Liz works to change mindsets, diagnose conditions, and set up ongoing medical networks and treatment plans for children living with disabilities. Over to you, Liz.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Liz, a physiotherapist. This is my 23rd or 22nd year of experience. And one of my greatest challenge is managing disability. I love challenges and I love not knowing what to expect so that it can really do my head. And I'm happy to bring solutions. So what do? I identified this community that my bloodline has something to do with it. And this community are Maasais and they're pastoralists in their way of life. And what happens is because the girls get married very early, their children are born, their firstborns mostly succumb to death or disability. Then the children are hidden away because the community has a low level of literacy and whatever they can't explain is branded as witchcraft. So we started almost 6 years ago and we made good achievements in breaking stigma, which basically means even a mother getting her little child who is disabled out of their little homes. So what we do, we start by identifying people who can help us look for these children, mainly who are the community health mobilizers. The referrals is mainly our way of identifying them. So these children are identified, we actually go to the actual homes. It's never an easy moment, but by the end of the half an hour that we are in that home or 45 minutes, we leave a lot of hope. So what we do is we give a human holistic approach. Once we identify that child, we begin by giving a full medical assessment. In our team, we always go around with a doctor and we have medication. So the doctor will do an assessment. If the child is severe, which in some cases we found some kids, we have to give them finances to go to a bigger hospital where they can be done blood works and better full assessment. But on the ground, most of the time, those kids are malnourished and we have to give them multivitamins and we give them high nutrition food. And then after a while, we go back and now we begin a medical education where already you're giving the mother hope that your child can be revived and your child deserves a chance in life. We give them health education. And at that point, we now introduce therapy. So we will show either the mother or the carer basic therapy skills that they need to do every day. But we make sure that we keep our promise to that. We want to keep coming every so often to assess progress and probably introduce more skills. Once we do that, we will do the both door-to-door interventions, and then we have found the value of group to give psychosocial support. Some of these mothers can't even show their faces, but now we have really broken the stigma, and in some areas, we have the mothers longing to come to our training sessions. They come over with their kids and they're happy to learn from each other. It's that moment when they smile and they encourage each other that makes us know that we need to keep doing this and we need to get all the babies that are hidden away to get that chance in life. Then once we've achieved that, we have now tried to identify. Now that's a photo with a heavy story because that was an area that I was there last week. And these are kids who are not in our program, but now we have just integrated them. those mothers even refused to engage us at a dispensary that's just a few meters away because they felt the shame and they felt, no, talk to us right at that corner because we don't know, people don't like us and we want to hide our children. And we gave them medication. The grandmother seated next to me was sad through the entire 1 hour we were there. She had so many questions. Her baby was very, very sick. The doctor said he clearly has blood infections, and we referred him to a hospital where he was to get full blood works. And then tomorrow we are going, and we are now going to assess the baby and now see exactly what is happening. But 3 of these kids are going to benefit from wheelchairs on Friday. Now, apart from what we do is ensure that we try and integrate these children back to the community. And how do we do that? For those who are basically quite independent, we refer them to the one school in the entire area that has a special unit. So we ask the teacher if they're able to accommodate them and get them in the school. And I think so far we have 8 children that we've managed to integrate to a normal school. And then also one of our biggest highlight is having one boy who we gave a wheelchair just attend the first disability sports competition, and he came out number 2. It was such a joy when the teacher sent me the photos. It was such a moment. And the young man has progressive muscular dystrophy. He might just live for a year or 2 if he's lucky, but him being able to achieve attending sports and coming number 2 gave us a reason to feel everyone in this life, no matter what you're going through, you deserve a moment in life. And then what we do to ensure that we are sustainable, we work with the government institutions, those are the hospitals, social services like the churches, because we want people to feel safe when they discuss disability. And we keep getting these referrals and phone calls like, there's this kid, when you come, please come and see them. And it's a joy when now we see the men getting involved, because initially it was a women's affair, anything to do with children. But we have made an effort to work with the men. So when the men reach out there and they're talking to the women, it's becoming safe and becoming comfortable to talk about disability. And finally, we also give a lot of support in terms of disability aids when we get the donations. We also give things like mosquito nets, because this area is either drought or excessive flooding. Like since the rains have been around for the last month and a half, it has really affected some of our families who have had to move up the hill because their homes have been carried away. But in all this, I would say thank you so much to all our supporters, because every little support goes a long way, because your support is either helping one child or it's helping a group. And we could never do this because the area we work with is so hard to reach, has challenges all the time. But look at the smiles. They make us want to go again, and change their lives because we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I could listen to you talk about your work all day. It's so wonderful, and the real depth of impact that you're making on the individual children's lives is just phenomenal, from sort of being hidden away in their houses to being brought out into the community, to going to school, to winning competitions. It's absolutely incredible and so inspiring for future generations, and that change of mindset within the community. So amazing. So the way that Liz generally works is to head out ideally once a month to do medical camps and to take medical professionals out to see children that they know need medical attention, but also as Liz's work becomes more and more well-known, more and more children living with disabilities are coming out of the woodwork. So she's forever assessing new children, setting up treatment plans with family members, letting them know how they can do at-home physio things with their children. And so those camps cost about 4,500 Australian dollars each, and that's to bring together a team of medical professionals and to get out to these hard-to-reach places and actually find these children and treat them. So that is the wonderful work of Liz, and I'd love to ask if anyone has any questions for Liz. Yes, I agree, Jo. Such inspiring work that Liz is doing. Absolutely. Absolutely, Fleur. Janet, amazing. Thank you so much, Liz. Sorry, I know there are a few more comments in there, but we do need to move on now so that we can hear from Shah and Lucy. So thank you for putting those comments of encouragement in. All all along the vein of the inspiration and the beautiful work striking a chord. Really beautiful comments. Thanks, guys. So we are heading back to Bangladesh now, and we're going to hear about the different water challenges that they face in Bangladesh. We're going to be meeting with Shah Rafayat Chowdhury. Shah is the co-founder and president of an organisation that has delivered lifetime drinking water access to over 250,000 Bangladeshis. Shah has received the Diana Award AFS Prize for Young Global Citizens, and last year was listed in the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia. So we're very excited to have Shah here with us today. Over to you, Shah.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Shah. I'm an environmentalist where I run an initiative which actually customizes drinking water facilities for children in marginalized schools across Bangladesh. And our model is very unique in the sense that we first go on ground and find these schools which are experiencing both water contamination and shortage, and design and customize drinking water facilities according to their water needs and demands. Then we mobilize donor funding to actually set up these systems. But the magic happens right afterwards when we actually teach the communities, the school communities actually, on how to maintain these systems both technically and financially on their own, so that they don't have to depend on any more donor support. And what this does is ensures safe water access for a lifetime for these children. I started this initiative back in 2018 after a primary school teacher reached out to me, sharing his experience on how a lot of his kids were unable to come to class, and he was suspecting it was because of falling sick from drinking the water in that school. And I remember I went to that school the very next day, and I saw the tap that they had, which was a very dirty tap. And I put my finger up one of the taps, and a bunch of rust and dirt just showered on my hand. And this was the water that the kids were drinking. And I later found out that mostly kids in schools, they suffer from various diseases like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, because of drinking water in schools where they stay most of their time during the day. And I was like, this is something that I cannot stand. And on that very day, I actually met a director of a company, and I shared this story with her, who then gave me a fund to set up drinking water facilities in 5 schools. And after setting up the drinking water facility in that school, 6 months later, the teacher reported back that there was an increase in attendance rate by over 12%. And I saw a potential that this is what I wanted to do, but I also had to set a goal, right? So I created a goal called Goal 100, where I intended to reach 100 schools with safe water access through my work. And we began this in 2019. And after like a bunch of hurdles, and with the global pandemic in the middle as well, this March, actually, we were able to reach this goal. We actually reached 100 schools with safe drinking water access, which is now ensuring safe water for over 60,000 children across Bangladesh. Now, you might ask, what's next? Before I could actually work on the next goal, I actually faced a very big tragedy in my life. So in March, we achieved Goal 100. And this May, on May 2nd, I lost my father to pancreatic cancer. But a few days before, I remember I was talking to him at the hospital and asking him what his dreams were of me. He said that he wanted me to excel him in his life and by impacting as many people as possible with the work that I did. And he was extremely proud that we were finally able to reach 100 schools with drinking water access. And he dreamed that we would reach 1,000 schools one day. And I guess that dream of his became mine right now, where I want to chase this dream of ensuring safe water for 1,000 schools, ensuring safe water for 1 million children across Bangladesh. Over the years, we wouldn't have been able to reach Goal 100 without people like Joe, Christy, Fleur, Emily, with 100 schools. And right now, I'm actually asking you guys to join our mission so that we can reach 1,000 schools, so that I can fulfill this dream, not only for me or my father, but also for the 1 million children who will have safe drinking water access for a lifetime. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Shah. It's amazing that you reached the 100 schools, first of all. And yeah, absolutely devastated for you about losing your dad. sounds like he was a really incredible leader and environmentalist in the space too. So it's beautiful that you are going to carry on his dreams, and I have no doubt that you'll get to 1,000 schools, and we're really proud and excited to be on this journey with you and supporting you in whatever way that we can. So just to give a bit of context around the systems that SHA installs, so currently the price of a water filtration device at a school that can provide children and their families with a lifetime of clean drinking water is 2,800 Australian dollars. And as part of that cost, SHA and his team ensure that the local school and community have the skills to maintain the systems themselves. He's told us some horror stories of foreign implemented water systems with parts that can't actually be replaced locally. So everything is able to be replaced locally and maintained locally, meaning that really when one of these systems is installed, it really is for a lifetime of clean drinking water and reaches an average of 2,400 people per system. So a really incredible impact for 2,800 Australian dollars. So would anyone like to ask SHA any questions about his work? Grania says, what an ambitious target reached. So well done. Again, you remind us of the importance of clean water that many of us take for granted. Yes, absolutely. And it's beautiful to see so many of you guys on the call today who have been part of supporting SHA to deliver water to the 100 schools. So wonderful to see those faces on the call and to know that you guys got to hear that amazing milestone live.
One quick question. Is there any government funding or government partial funding or support for what you're doing? Or is it fully privately funded?
Thank you for the question. So most of our projects are actually privately funded by donors and private corporations. And in developing countries like Bangladesh, there's a very big communication gap between people who are working on ground as well as government bodies. And I'll share a recent example. So the UN Water Conference took place in New York just a couple of months ago, where the Bangladesh government, along with the University of Oxford, as well as UNICEF, designed a project to ensure safe water in schools and hospitals across Bangladesh, a concept that they developed, which we've been working on for the past 5 years. So you can imagine that even though we've been reaching out to governmental bodies, it's not reaching the right ears. But we're trying our best to get the government involved as well, because I'm pretty sure with their support, we would be able to make more impact as well, because there's a lot of schools which are under government rules, which we are yet to reach. So that's something that we're intending to do.
Thank you very much, SHA. We're going to move on to hear from our final speaker today, Lucy Odewa. So Lucy is in Tanzania, and she won the UN Women SCGs and Her competition in 2018 for her work producing reusable sanitary pads and promoting menstrual health hygiene management in Tanzanian schools. Lucy also trains and employs women in rural areas to work as pad distribution agents. Lucy, hello.
My name is Lucy Odewa, Just People's project leader from Tanzania, working on period poverty and ending period stigma, accessing girls with low-cost, affordable, reusable sanitary towels to improve girls' school attendance and academic performance. We all know that education is the foundation for everything. Being in the four corners of a classroom can enlighten you in ways beyond any other thing, in ways beyond what you can comprehend. So it is important for us that girls stay in school at all times and are not missing out on school simply because they're having their periods. We also offer period education, period information, giving girls and boys and the entire community the right information about menstruation, what is happening in the bodies, debunking myths, misconceptions, taboos. This has led to a lot of period stigma and period misinformation in the community. Girls in Tanzania face a myriad of many menstrual hygiene management challenge, lack of information, lack of products and services, making them miss 4 to 7 days of school, about 48 days to 84 days every year cumulatively. And they also transition into puberty with the lack of information, clouded with the myths, misconceptions, clouded with the traditions, taboos all those things that they hear, which really lower the self-esteem of girls, has lowered the confidence of many girls, and has just made them transition into youth and adulthood with a lot of fear, shame, stigma, embarrassment, and a very low self-esteem. All these are soft factors which are really responsible for anyone to be able to believe in themselves and just achieve their goals outside there. So me and my team, as you can see us there, we work on making these reusable sanitary towels available for girls at a very low cost. Sanitary towels are still very expensive in Tanzania, and the logistics around it is very poor, with most of it just being concentrated in the urban regions and not going down to the local remote areas where there is a higher population of girls and women who are not able to access these ones. And the girls are being forced to make temporary unhygienic solutions to manage their periods, where they're forced to use rags, pieces of mattress or sponge. Girls have been using soil and sitting on soil during their periods, and others have also found ways of maneuvering to use cow dung and other animal waste to manage their periods, which is very unhygienic, and this has led to recurrent reproductive tract infections that are not sexually transmitted, urinary tract infections, which has led to infertility. And period poverty has led girls to, trade sex for pads. That is called transactional sex, because it cut across many things. Some don't do it for the money, some do it just for the little thing that they can get, or maybe just as a barter trade. You give them pad and they offer you sex. This is more rampant around the urban areas where we have had military barracks and, these police barracks where they have enticed girls into these quite dangerous behaviors. This has led girls to have early pregnancies, unsafe abortions, sexually transmitted infections, and HIV/AIDS. And most of them are men twice or thrice their age, not even their counterparts. So we work towards having girls and families access these products, which they're able to use for 3 years, reducing on menstrual cost by 90 to 95% during the period of use, and reducing the menstrual connected school absence. And we have seen a tremendous improvement in the performance of girls in schools where our partners have accessed many girls with these pads. We have been able to reach about 67,000 girls with these reusable sanitary towels, and we have been able to reach more than 120,000 girls and boys with our menstrual health education in schools and in the community. Our target this year actually is to be able to reach out to 200,000 girls. It looks like a massive number, but comparing to the 32.17 million women in Tanzania population, that is still a drop in the ocean. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucy, for that rich understanding of what being able to have a properly managed menstruation actually means for women and girls. It goes far beyond just the stigma and shame that women are experiencing, but into their education and into their safety as well. So thank you so much for sharing that, and congratulations on those big milestones. Very exciting. And just to give you an understanding of Lucy's work, she can provide, for $4 she can provide a sustainable supply of sanitary products for 3 years for one girl, and for around $8,000 she can support 250 women in remote areas to set up micro businesses distributing pads to girls and women in rural Tanzania. So really incredible work. And does anyone have any questions for Lucy?
I think on a previous call you spoke about education for men and boys around some of this issue. Any other news stories from that angle?
Thank you so much for the question. Yes, we do have really exciting news right now. First of all, we have taken the step right now to, just introduce ourselves to all the government levels of authority from our area, so that the government is now more aware. We have been having government engagement, engaging the government in many things, but this time round we have taken it to a different perspective. in our own region. In fact, this is what I have been doing since the beginning of the week. I went to the local area leader and, gave a good presentation of what we do, the impact that we have achieved, and the growth that we have seen. And I also went to the zonal commissioner and also gave a brief pitch of what we do. And I have already met the district commissioner and have had a personal discussion of how we are contributing to the development by helping girls go to school every time. And this has one response that I got from each and every one of them. They were really excited at the fact that I was able to go in particular, take my time, go to their office, address that issue with them and see how we can work together. And they have promised me that whenever they are organizing anything in the community that involves people coming around, they will always invite us to speak. So that is a really exciting moment for us to be able to include more men and women and have this period conversation go down to the community.
Thank you so much, Lucy. And thank you, everybody. Really, really beautiful vibe in the Zoom room today, and particularly to our incredible leaders for the inspiration. Thank you.